Good morning. It is Friday. It's Friday, right? Yeah, I think. I don't know why I'm so bad with the days and stuff. I get very lost and confused. I think if my head wasn't attached, I would be doomed. But yes, Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. I'm ready for the weekend. I don't know about you guys, but definitely looking forward to a few days off. Let me just get my tweet ready. There it goes. So we are good on that. Um, really not too much special to mention other than I think we're getting close to seeing some announcements to do with entities famous Fade Fest. I think this will be the fifth one. Um, Usually have lots of activities. Sometimes it includes housing competitions, so be on the lookout for that. Chestnut will probably be the one posting it. I believe it's Black Dagger Society among other groups or individuals that help out with organizing the different events. But it's something I wish Javit had as well, some version of it, if nothing else. But we just never had a group really kick off something like that and have it stick around. I mean, there's been some events organized and some that have been tried to, be organized, but they just never stuck. This one seems to do really well. I think what would be exciting is if they work somehow into expanding it. Those that actually control the bits get in touch with people and guilds on this side of the pond and organize a game-wide type of event, week-long event kind of thing. That would be awesome. But I realize that kind of stuff is pretty tough to organize and have it go through without a hitch. So I understand if that's not possible. But it would be something exciting to see for all of the community to be able to partake in it, rather than it just be limited to region. Good morning, Poi, Bones, anyone else that happens to be out there. I don't know if Bones is actually there yet or if it's just a channel hosting, but I appreciate it. So yeah, basically just usual. We've got house tours Wednesday coming up, and of course we're working all month on the latest CBDC, which this month's theme is museum masterpieces. I know it sounds kind of cocky to say masterpieces when maybe you don't feel like your work is to that stature, but it just fit. It was something that kind of rhymed and rather than just saying museum stuff, that sounds pretty lame. So. But this month we're looking for paintings and sculptures. The biggest catch is that they have to be 50 items or less. This includes the framework for if it's a painting, or the pedestal or whatever for if it's a sculpture. It's rather limiting, but I'm doing my best to try and throw out some ideas on how to use certain items for picture frames and pedestals, to use the least amount of items for that part of it in order to be able to spend the rest, the majority of your decor count limit, or allotment, I should say, on the part of the submission that counts, which is the subject matter, be it a sculpture or a focus of your painting or whatever. The painting is proving a little bit more difficult for me. I don't know if it's just I haven't gotten really a good inspiration. I tried some butterflies, but the items I'm using or I used just didn't, I don't think they'll lend themselves well to if I want to add any kind of a background type of stuff. It would only work really nicely if I just keep it flat to the canvas, because of the items I chose to work for the butterfly wings. That said, maybe it will give someone else an idea and they'll be able to do that with their their painting. Again, you can see some of the items I picked for that. They disappear pretty quickly. The gongs really work well at a distance. That's a plus for them. But again, it's not like I can really layer anything underneath, because if I pull the butterfly part out, then the look of it changes. So it'll be kind of iffy on if I figure out anything nice to use for that. But it was an idea. Again, we were just kind of brainstorming, and a lot of the things that I do, I have like literally tons of ideas that go through my brain, and I attempt some of them, and uh, I just scrap the idea because I just don't have the talent for kind of bringing it to the housing format, or I just kind of lose interest, however you want to say it. That said, the pedestal part and the sculpturing has turned out to be a little bit more fun for me this go around. So as you can see, we have the rooster from yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. And I really liked how he turned out. I'm sure there's some imperfections and things that people would do differently, but I kind of like that we got to stick with mostly the same piece for the body of it, and then just kind of flourished it with the tail. That tail, though, gave me an idea for another sculpture. So you can see I've been playing around with the idea of a peacock. So I'm using the tail for those long, nice, colorful feathers, that same oar and fence piece, and I've been playing around with different shapes for the body. I tried using first the tall files. They are doable, but they're really off color for uh, what I was envisioning. I think the Hugels will work better, just because they're also a green. I think it will match better with the bits. You can also see I was playing around with different poses. That's also important on trying to give some, I guess, rather than, if you have like a mannequin and you just have them standing there straight, their long, their arms and legs just, they're like at attention. That's okay, but like if you have them in a certain pose, that gives them a little bit of more interest. So it's the same way if you're doing a statue. If you're going to have it like a statue of a person, like say you take the bust of Malvolio or the soldier and you add a body to them, don't just have it straight. Try and give them a pose. Maybe they're holding a sword aloft, or maybe they're reclined along a daybed or something like that. Just give it some kind of a pose. So I had one kind of standard, and then the new one with the Hugels, I'm making it look like it's kind of like he's turned his head and he's kind of looking back. So just kind of playing around with some different ideas. You can see I threw out a bunch of Orin-y type stuff, because one of the things that is recognizably a part of the peacock besides its tail is the little comb that's on the top of its head. Again, when it comes to these sculptures, you don't have to get too detailed, as long as someone can walk in and recognize what it is, even if it takes them a moment. Because a lot of times, like I kind of test run things on my husband. He'll come and see like a bunch of books together, and all he'll see for a moment is just a pile of books. But once he kind of gets past what the item is that's being used, then he can see kind of what's it's supposed to be, the what it represents. So it's the same way with your sculptures. So I'm not going to be giving like eyes and things. I gave a little bit of an indication of a beak on this one, but I want to keep it very I don't know what you call it, non-detailed. I just want to give the impression that that's what it is. I want someone to be able to look at it, recognize it, and then they are, they're free to move on. So I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to link these up so that I can move them all as a single piece. I could use the radius version, selecting one of them and saying link all like decor, but just in case I have some stray stuff that I don't want moved, I just prefer to do it by hand like this. I'm going to move him over. You can see how some of it was stuck down inside the pillar. Again, it's a good example of why having like the bottoms of the goblets and stuff might be problematic if you use those as a stand for your sculpture if you have anything sticking out the bottom. This works a little better for any type of deal because really it's just kind of there. So again, I'm going to link this up. I didn't give it like a scale. I may have to reduce the size a little bit. I'm not quite sure. Can't forget his head. You can see I kind of rather big. He's supposed to be kind of like sitting on top of the pedestal. Not necessarily standing on it, just kind of resting on it, sort of. You'll see I'm kind of adjusting the height and everything because there is a little bit of a raised part right on the tip top. And I don't want to have it look like it's cutting in. Plus, there's a little bit of the tail bit here sticking out. So I have to adjust that a little bit, I think. And I only have one strand or layer of feathers. I'm actually going to be filling it up a little bit more, I think. I just wanted to get the kind of the way it kind of drapes around the pedestal in place before I went any further with it. So the next big detail, again, like I said, would be the comb for his head. I thought about using like the bottom of this vase, but I think it's going to be the wrong coloring. I would really prefer it to be more gold than pink. It's kind of the right shape. I like the shape of it, but you can see too, the smaller I make it to get that grass to hide, the less likely it's probably going to be seen. But hope we can get this in here like I want. And I would probably go ahead and, let's see, turn this a little bit. Trying to make it a little bit more of a, like a fan on his head. Something like that. It's not exactly what I'm envisioning, but close. That actually might work. I like the different colorings. It makes it look like the comb has a little bit of a uh, difference in the feathers, I guess that's what makes it up. Needs to come down a little bit. Again, when you're doing these, just check at all angles, because you never know when something's going to look a little off. Trying to get rid of the little grass that's up there, but maybe it's no, it's one. Well, that's gonna bug me. Maybe if I change the point so much. Excuse me. Now this, I am not sure. Unlink these. I'm going to link all of these up to this part. I think I want to change this the rear end of them. It looks a little too long to me. Again, I'm using references. I have a lot of. I just Googled up peacocks, so I'm looking at different poses and how their body shape looks. And that's what I'm using as reference to kind of get the shape that I'm going for. It's not going to be exact, but I'm doing my best to get it as close as possible. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I think it's because I put it that long because this is a rather long piece itself. So maybe if I add another one. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. It makes the back end a little more narrow, I think. Feeling. Yeah, that looks better to me. See how just one little teensy change can modify it so much. Here you have that just that one little lump, and it just makes a world of it. This one he looks, I don't know, sickly looking to me, and this one he looks more plump, more full. It looks finished now to me, the body. I don't know how else to explain it. It just seemed like it was missing something. So there's that. So now to decide how we're going to finish dressing up the tail. So I started with the other shape first. So the tail positioning might not be perfect, but I'm hoping that we can kind of fix that as we fluff it in. So either I link all of these tail pieces together, I think might be all right to do. I think that's all of them, yeah. Again, the whole bird, everything here is just this one same Hugel statue. It's the green one. I think you get it straight off of the housing vendor. Yeah, it's just a gold and a half, so it's not that expensive. And of course, the basis for the comb is also from the vendor, and then these are from the vendor. The only thing that's a little unusual is the Gothic pillar that I'm using. But that could be easily switched out in the event, like say, if this got picked and Green wanted to put it on the museum plot and they just don't have access now that the event's over and they didn't pick up enough and they just don't have any, that's something that can be easily changed out. So it's not that big of an issue. Okay, so I've got the tail set. And then peacock, tail, like that, add that, place all link. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just moving it slightly, just replicating it, add it in it, and it makes it a little fuller. That's the only thing. I rotated it slightly, lifted it a bit. That's one of the fun things about this particular bird. The feathers, the way you fan them out, you could do like, the reason it made me think of it because of the rooster tail was because of this. It reminded me of a fan, because I don't know if you've seen some of the ones where it's like the peacock is right in the middle and then they've got the tail fans behind them. You could do it like that if you want to make that pose. I just thought the other, this type of tail swooping along the podium or the pedestal would be a little bit more elegant, but you could do it that way too. Just the fan at the back and then have the body coming up with the head right in the front. You can have the head turned a little bit, that kind of thing. There's a few that have just a few tail feathers. They're like, it's more like kind of like a, oh, what's it called? I can't think of the word that I want to use. It's more, it's not as realistic, I guess, as the peacock tails that you would see in real life, or at least the ones that I've seen. But it's like it highlights that special feature of them. So it has like maybe 6 really distinct feathers, and then they've got the little eye thing that's on the end of it. The only reason I didn't do a tail like that is because one of the things I thought about using is the gongs. But because of those chains, it just looked really ridiculous. I even thought maybe using the gongs to kind of add a little detail to the draping feathers here, and that didn't seem to work either because again the chains were problematic. And but that's another idea. Let's see. There's some that didn't even do the eye. They just have like these, you know, you could do a really abstract version, like having just a fan of 2x4s or metal planks for the fan of the thing. It doesn't have to be flowery. I just picked the Oran fence pieces because they look flourishy and delicate, and that's what I picture these feathers being like, is delicate and everything, so that's why I used them. So I'm going to add one more set of the tail feathers. I'm going to rotate it this way this time. Again, it's just to kind of beef it up a little bit. You could get as flourishy, as beefy as you want, I guess, but I think this is where we're going to stop. Just the 3 rows, I think is plenty. Other than that, I think I would call this done. I like its simplicity and stuff. Now the big question is, did I go over the limit? I honestly don't know, so I guess we'll find out. See how many. I may end up having to remove 1 row of tail feathers just to accommodate the amount that we're allowed. Let's see, we'll make the butt of it the main piece. Yes. Let's link it all up. Thanks, boy. Again, where it was this, that's one of the things I find fun about the housing is I'll be working on something totally not entirely related. It's sort of related because they're both birds, but I'll be working on something and then that triggers a thought. It's kind of like when we were working on the party tent for the Easter decorations, and then I thought, huh, that looks like a hat or a skirt, and later I did use it as an actual skirt and hat. It's those kind of like happy accidents. You put something together, you fiddle with it, and you go, it might not be working for this, or it might could work for that, but it also could work for a multitude of other things. And again, it's kind of the same way we approach the individual pieces themselves. We see a plate, but we also see a lid, an eye, a wing, a parasol. You see a use for the same things multiple ways, and that's really the whole fun thing about the housing, and I love that. So being able to come up with multiple uses for like the Oran fences as some type of feather feature for birds and stuff, that's fun for me. So maybe we'll stick with this theme. I don't know if we will or not, but it would be fun to be able to have just several sculptures and paintings of just birds. I've already done some birds before. I did the swans, I did the bluebird and the gray bird. I don't know if I've done any other birds, but those do come to mind. So I've already had birds on the brain in the past. Okay, so I need to add the pillar. I think that's everything. Yeah. So here comes the final test. Because again, I'm not wanting to cheat. I got to follow the same rules as you guys. So let's put this as just the peacock by itself. Whoops. New, and then add lace. That comes up to 27, so we're well within the limit. And that's just a really simple. So that gives you idea that you could add some extra details if you want some kind of wingy effect on the sides. You could add some eyes. You could even dress up the pillar, which is something I was wanting to do just to make it look a little different than the traditional. See how just that little extra makes it change. Looks different. I'll add that to the set. So now we're at 28. So again, I could probably add some eyes. See, I don't know what other feature. I could maybe add a little bit more definition to the beak. Try that. Elongate it a little bit, give it a little bit of a hook. Make sure I've got that going. little smaller. Turn it down just a bit. See how that changes it? Again, it's just those little bits. Adds a little something extra. So I'll add that in. I'm going to put something for its eyes. I don't want it to overpower too much. So I don't want it to be like a bright white or anything. I don't really know if they have any special eye features. Let me look. Most of these aren't very close up. And of course the peacocks, they come in a variety of colors. So you don't have to stick with green. There's a lot of them have a lot of blue. I've seen some with yellows and pinks. And it's a sculpture, it's your interpretation. Even if you're doing a painting, you can make it whatever color you want, as long as you've got the basic features that most people assume. The body shape, the tail, and the comb on the head. Those are probably the main three elements I would for sure make sure your version of a peacock has. And there won't be any mistaking it to what it is, no matter what colors you paint it. Let's see. Well, it shows some of them with like a white outline around the eye. Don't really want to use white though. Some of them have a full-on white head. Some of them have stripes, a little swirly thing. It's really probably anything I want to use. I'd really like to. I think I'm just going to leave that as it is. Don't want to get too weird about it because I fear I might overdo it. Sometimes less is more, I guess. So I think we're going to call that done for now. I don't think I'm going to change it. So I'm going to clear this, add link set. So that's officially at 29 pieces. So we're doing good as far as staying within the limits that we were supposed to. And I'm very happy that I changed it to the green rather than using the bright blue. I think that would be a little distracting. This flows better in my eyes. Now, that said, we did have the comb issue. I went ahead and went with the first thing that I grabbed from over here. There are, of course, other options. You could, let's see, I'm going to replicate this over here. Just going to replicate the head. So I thought about using one of the other fences, the smaller one. Some people are going, why are you giving other ideas? Because someone else is going to do the peacock too. I'm perfectly okay with someone else doing one. I'm not one of those that says, well, because I did a peacock, nobody else can. It's not like I own the rights to peacocks or anything. So I have fun brainstorming because that's basically all I do all day. Even when I'm doing other things, I'm just thinking about housing and dream about it. So I was thinking about this, but you can see that doesn't look very good. I don't like that one at all. In comparison to this one, I think this one works much better. Maybe you could layer it up enough and make that little, you know, the comb shape, sort of. But again, it just looks too fragile. It doesn't match right. And again, it could be one of those things that I've already used the one, and now that one's, I just see that only as the comb, and nothing else is going to work. But I thought maybe using the little grass bits on the top of this one, but you can see there's the problem of this whole stick thing, it would be poking through his neck, so that for sure wouldn't work. Same way with this one. If you're wondering what I'm eating, it's the leftover of my cough drop. Once it gets to a certain size, I end up chewing it because I'm afraid I'm going to suck it up as I inhale and choke on it. Let's see. Get this one pretty small. Again, it's going to be a problem of having it poke out the bottom. A little smaller. Looks like a unicorn type of thing, but again, you'd probably have to do the multiples. And it looks like a spiky mohawk kind of thing. So yeah, I think that first choice just happened to work out the best. My good fortune, but again, that's what I do. If most of the time when I'm building something and I'm not quite sure what I want to use, I just throw out a bunch of stuff. Usually it's either pieces I already have in the crate or cheap things I can buy from the housing vendor. That's one of the reasons why I build from there so much, because it's easier to drop stuff out from there than to go hunt up some junk from you know, a vendor from a different area of the world or whatever. Used to, I would use the Living in WildStar site, and I would window shop there. I would look at items. Maybe I was looking for a specific color or a specific shape, and I would browse that. This is before I really started using the decor shopper in Katia. But I would build that way. I would look for things that fit what I thought would work, and then I'd go and hunt them up. But I think it's easier and usually cheaper for me to just build kind of freely using whatever I have at hand. So that too, and it also usually guarantees if I decide to share a particular project with someone else, they don't have such a hard time trying to collect all of the items because it's not anything super unusual. Like I said, the only thing for this one in particular that might pose problematic is the Gothic pillars. Okay, so if we're going to go and stick with the birdie theme, I have to think of another bird. Trying to think. I've done a fish before and using these, so I'm thinking other things that might come to mind. Maybe someone wants to make a goldfish. These would work really pretty for that kind of thing, like a koi, like a model of a koi type fish. I don't know what you would really use for the body. You could probably get away with using just the hugels again, having a green fish. Let's see. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm going to have to try it. So let's see. Let me Google up I don't know if I'm going to find what I'm looking for. I don't think the koi really have like really loosey-goosey feathery like fins. I think it's more the goldfish that I'm thinking of. I like the colors of the koi, the way it's kind of splotchy and stuff. That lends itself really nice, but I don't know. I don't think it's very common to have a sculpture of a googly-eyed goldfish. Excuse me. Because I know there's some particulars about not only the shape, but you know, having the separation between like the head where I guess the gills would be, and then the scales of the body. Again, with the limit of the decor, if I was to try and individually layer in some feathers, for an example, on this peacock, then that would probably be super difficult to keep within the limits, even though I've only reached maybe 30. That doesn't leave but maybe what, 20 pieces, so that's not enough. It'd be the same way with, like, if you're doing the scales of a fish. Maybe you want to try a mermaid, so you not only have the figure, the top part, but the scales of the bottom part to worry about. That's why I say simplify it by just getting the general shape. You could do the shape of the upper body of the mermaid and have the tail maybe be this. Probably do that, maybe. I don't know. I've seen a few do the mermaids. They used, I think it was the mossy overgrowth for the tail. Looked nice and green, and they had it flare out at the end. Let's see. I don't know if I can do a body, fish body. I think we'll have to do another one of these kind of things, where we have it on a stick. Raise it up a little bit, and I guess we'll just do one of these. So again, I'm just playing around. There's no guarantee this is even going to turn out right, but what's also problematic is if you're using the hugel. I managed to hide most of the faces on the hugels themselves because of how I positioned them. This one's facing down, and it's pretty much covered up. You don't notice that the eyes are actually showing. Same way along the neck, you can see there's little bits of signs of the face and the front part, but they're meshed together enough where it kind of disguises what it is. But this one might not be so easy. So you could keep it really simple and just have this as the whole body. That's what I did with the first fish I made. And then, of course, I actually layered in like lots and lots of plates. I think it was, I don't know, 300 or 400 different plates for all of the scales. But again, I don't want to go that detailed on this. So let's see if we can give it a nice goldfishy shape, sort of. Oops, I think that's too much. Now, if I decide that it's not centered right, I can always change that up. I'm just starting out with a shape, trying to get a shape going. I'm looking at too many different ones here, so it's going to be a little weird. Some of them are like a little bowed on the belly, and some aren't. Really hard to tell. One looks like really engorged on its back end. And more of a hump. That don't look quite right either. Maybe this is what it is. And this. Oh gosh. I think I need to pick one reference and just use that as there's like so many different shapes of this little bugger. All right, this. Um, this looks like a funny football. Not blending like I'm wanting. I really need to find a better picture. Looks like a catfish. Okay, let's try this again. This doesn't look quite like what I want. It's like a, I don't know, a flat round thing. What is it? Okay, let's try this. Start over. Maybe I should just quit looking at the picture and, oops. Go with my gut. Okay, that angled. No, that doesn't look right either. Maybe I should just keep it like this. Just one little fishy thing. And just add in the different fins. I think that's what I did with the other. And just get a little small. Down. Select. I don't know. Fish might not be my forte here. Basically, you want to fan it, I think. Keep the parts touching the body pretty narrow, but fan out the bottom. And just because of the nature of the fence, it might look better from one direction than the other. You might get past that by turning it a little bit. I don't know if that'll make a difference. It might throw the swirliness off. And then use the same ones for the sides. You could use the shorter fences if you want for the side fence, but I think using the same ones work just as well. A really bizarre fish, but they could get the idea. Someone with a little bit more fishy knowledge might be able to fix it up a little bit better. I don't think that's going to work. Probably have to figure out another bird or something that I think will work. We could try the other pose of the peacock, showing you the tail. They would probably do back to the tail here. All these together. Make sure all linked was a note. Wait, did I just add the one to the other? I think I did. Clear. There we go. So because the tail is like the biggest feature of the peacock, that's what I would focus on first. Hey Mario, it's been a while. Definitely. How are you doing? Still enjoying the gaming and stuff? Let's see, I'm going to clear this one again, add it again. Oops. And to add all three. Oh, my stomach's not feeling good. Well, that's good to hear, Benny. Or Mario, whichever you prefer. Yeah, I'm going to switch. Yeah, I keep selecting the wrong one. Turn this. So then I would probably extend this by one, knock it down just a little bit in size. Finish off that little flourish. Replicate. Then we have to have a capper here. So I would just probably replicate this. Push it to the middle. Do the same with this one. And then need to rotate. Got to keep that where it's all emanating from the center there. So it'll be a little thicker at the top, but that'll be a nice little peacock bit. In fact, let's just, oh, my tummy is really barking. I don't think it liked having an egg sandwich so early in the morning, but I had to have something. I would probably just grab this whole body part. So let's see. Add peacock body. New. And let's just deselect these parts. Unlink them from the mommy. And same with the pedestal. Don't want the pillar again. We could, but I'm just going to leave it just the body. We're going to add link that. So now we have the body separate, and then I'm going to go ahead and regroup this up. So that's all still one set. Then I'm going to place all on link. Again, it's just same bird. I'm just going to insert him where he needs to be, the middle, a little lower. You could make the fan a little bigger if you want. It's not as, you know, big, I guess, as it should be. I'm going to see about turning his head here, so we're going to break this set so that I can turn his head separately. Use the comb too. Hoping it's just a matter of repositioning the head on the neck. You might have to do some adjustment on the neck as well, but go like so. Not as smooth looking as the other, but pretty close. Use a little bit better curvature there, I think. So I'm going to see about linking all of the bits up here. The tail, I think I want to make it a little bit bigger than it is. Grab those two middle ones. Where are you? There we go. Okay, so I think that's all the tail. So let's put it at 15. That's pretty big and bold. So there's your peacock with the tail spread out behind. So now we can put him on a pedestal. Or you could have him actually standing or just on a pole. Let's see. Back. Yeah, I think most of them, if he's got his tail out, they've got him up on his feet. So let's do it this way. We'll grab the pedestal. I think I have a few views. In place. We've got his body. Let's attach his head back to the body, and then we're going to attach the feathers to the body. That way we can move him all in one piece. Just a little bit up, and I guess giving him some legs. Got to make sure that the spark isn't showing, that kind of thing. See how it's poking out the bottom there? That might be a problem for the particular piece that I decided to use for his leg. There you go. There's your proud little sporting peacock there. Maybe he's actually got longer legs. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Looks a little. I could add some extra bits for the bottom. Just so it doesn't look like his legs are just kind of like stuck in him like a flamingo in the garden. A little bit. Maybe a little lower. There you go. So now we have two different peacocks, a rooster, and a very poor looking fish thing that's probably going to be removed very shortly. But that gives you some idea, you know, if you put together a sculpture and you don't quite like the pose, or maybe you want to see it in a different pose, nothing's to stop you from making a replica of it and changing it around a little bit, you know, just experiment with how it looks. Maybe you'll prefer the second one to the first. Kind of keep them matchy there. Okay, so I think that's it for today, guys. Again, I know I've been keeping my streams kind of to the hour almost. Mostly that's because, again, I'm still suffering from a little bit of a cold. I'm feeling a whole lot better than I was. The migraines have gone. I don't have as much of the congestion, so all of that's pretty much clearing up, but I still have a little bit of throat irritation. So the talking, which I seem to do a lot when I'm streaming, does irritate it some, and I don't want to push it. I'd rather keep them short and keep us going every day rather than straining myself and then end up having to miss a few days. So yeah, I hope, again, this gave you a few more ideas. Maybe someone will tackle the fish problem and make their own fish. Maybe someone will take up coming up with some new birds, or even refining and perfecting the peacock versions that I've put together. There's a lot of ways that you could probably do it. I just picked this particular one. It seemed the most suitable for the items that I'm using. So yeah, I hope you had fun. I sure did. I always enjoy sharing these goofy ideas with you guys, and you know, with the hope that it inspires you into making your own projects. I haven't heard of anyone working on anything yet, but I'm hopeful. And again, I think the toughest part is just staying within that 50 limit, which reminds me, I guess I should check to see if this one is still within it. I'll do that real quick. We'll make this peacock number 2. Peacock 2. Let's see, I think we had everything together except the legs. Gotta get his little leg stems in there. And the pillars, of course, have to be included. Okay, so I think that's everything, yep. So he is all together, drum roll. Oops. Gotta add it first, and I can add the link set. So he's all together 28 pieces. So very similar in amount, which is good. say this one, clear this, double check. Yeah, 29 and 28. So selecting the wrong thing there. 29 for Peacock 1, Peacock 2 is 28. I don't know what piece I'm missing. Maybe it was one less fence piece or something, because we added to the body and we even gave it legs, so I don't know what it is. It might have been more pieces for the tail for the first one. But that just shows you changing the pose. Maybe that changes the number of items actually used. I actually managed to save one piece over here, so hopefully that, again, gives you some ideas and some food for thought over the weekend. Again, if you do plan on participating in this month's competition, and you have either started your project or are planning to start it or already have it done amazingly, be sure to let me know. Just give me the information that I need, which is faction, region, the plot, character name, and what it is and where it is on the plot so that I can find it. I won't be coming around at this time to have a look, so you got time to do any last revisions and such. But towards the end of the month, when we're getting ready to do the showcase, I always come around to do some pre-screeny bits, because I always do a little bit of a spam train on the Twitter, showcasing everybody's, having little snapshots of everybody's submissions for that month. So I'll be coming around like a few days before that to take the screenshots. So you still have plenty of time, even if you've already got it finished per se, and you decide to change it later, there's plenty of time to do that. So it's not set in stone yet. But yeah, I really look forward to seeing what others decide to make. I hope others decide to make something. But again, I know this time of year is kind of tough on avoiding the family obligations and things for a lot of those visiting relatives and such. A lot of people going on vacation this time of year. So if nothing else, Green's going to be spammed with my weird stuff. So, but yeah, thanks for joining. Appreciate the follows, the tweets, the retweets, the company in the chat. And hope you guys have a great day and a great weekend. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.